waking up in the middle of the night to find someone lying on top of me, their skin soft and smooth. I pushed her away, only to be pinned down and kissed forcefully. What the hell? Is she serious? I kicked her off, but she drunkenly clung to me again. Done, and now you're pretending not to know me? Wait a minute. I stood up and splashed her with a glass of cold water. Awake now. I am. Who am I? A 200 per night male prostitute. Prostitute? Damn it. Screw your prostitute. 1. I'm a freshly dumped Hulk. My ex-girlfriend Maria, like me, came from the countryside with dreams of making it big in Beijing's entertainment circle. But she was pretty. After just a few minor roles, she caught the keen eye of a director who promoted her to supporting actress, and she skyrocketed to fame overnight. She officially debuted under director Lu's company and won Best Supporting Actress for that drama. On the night of the awards ceremony, my congratulatory message and her breakup text arrived simultaneously on each other's phones. Soon after, I saw the tabloid news about her frequent visits to director Lu Jing's apartment, her boss. The first sword drawn after reaching shore is always aimed at the one you love most. It was obvious. She had cheated and dumped me, her childhood sweetheart. Tonight was supposed to be about drowning my sorrows in alcohol. But before I could drink to my heart's content, I spotted a stunning yet aloof drunk woman being targeted. 2 burly men were circling nearby, eyeing her intermittently like starving wolves calculating how to devour their prey. Scratching my head, I approached with my glass and clinked it against hers. Let me take you away. Someone's got their eye on you. Huh, it's fine. The beauty's drunken eyes were bleary. She probably saw my single head as 2 by now. I hoisted her up and supported her by the arms as we headed out. The 2 burly men frowned and stepped forward to block me, but I dodged and weaved my way past them. XX Hotel. Haha, I know that place well. The beauty slurred. The driver glanced at me in the rearview mirror. Hiss. The door was opened, closed, and the windows locked in one swift motion. I pinned down her flailing little hands and tossed her onto the large bed. Perhaps the jostling was too much. She vomited all over me again on the way. Amidst this frantic chaos, my landlord called. Dominic, I can't rent the house to you anymore. You have 3 days to move out as soon as possible. Without even giving an explanation for breaking the lease, the landlady hurriedly hung up the phone as if being chased by a ghost. The house was originally shared between me and Maria. She moved out after signing with the company, claiming it was for the convenience of various training sessions. Only now do I realize that in reality, she just wanted easier access to meet with Director Lu. The green grassland stretches endlessly green. My mind had long become a verdant prairie like Hugh Lumber. 2. The woman made a scene until midnight. After cleaning up, I was exhausted and simply went to sleep. I woke up in the early hours to find someone lying on top of me, their skin soft and smooth, radiating unbearable heat. I pushed her away, only to be pinned down on the bed and forcefully kissed. What the hell? She's serious? I kicked her off, but she drunkenly clung to me again. Done, and now, pretending nothing happened. Wait a minute. I got up and splashed a glass of cold water on her. Awake yet? I am. Who am I? The 200 yuan, an hour gigolo. Gigolo? Gigolo your ass. Daylight was already streaming in. I threw 200 yuan on the nightstand and stormed out of there in a rage. I thought hitting rock bottom meant facing homelessness in 3 days. But little did I know worse misery was waiting for me. While I was scrambling to find a place to live, I suddenly discovered I'd been kicked out of multiple background actor group chats one after another. Even all my new group applications were rejected. Then, the casting coordinator canceled the next day's gig I'd just confirmed. I was utterly baffled and called Sister Jiang, the coordinator at the film studio. Sister Jiang hesitated on the phone. Dominic, it's not that I don't want to help you, but the higher-up said we're not allowed to hire you. If she won't let you go, your acting career is pretty much over. Don't make things difficult for me either. I'm just an employee who has to follow orders. At this point, what else is there for me not to understand? Maria, fearing I might spill some earth-shattering truth, decided to strike first. Leveraging her connections with Director Lu, she's determined to drive me out of the capital. I can't just sit around waiting for death. So the next day, after asking a friend to help me find a place, I stormed into the artist coordination office at the film studio with full fury. But I came up empty-handed. 3. Sister Jiang knew my personality, that I'd confront her directly to get answers, so she deliberately left early in the morning to avoid me. The entire film studio bustled with activity, yet there wasn't a single production crew that would take me in. The assistant George, who was familiar with me and knew about my predicament, couldn't bear to see me in such a sorry state. He quietly slipped me a note. It was an actor recruitment notice. The film was titled Frosted Glass, directed by Wen Yu, a rising director with rumored prestigious background. Most in the industry would give him face. My spirits immediately lifted. With Wen Yu's production, no one would dare casually cut actors. Even director Lu himself might not get special treatment if he went to intervene. What a great opportunity. How could I not seize it? I whispered my thanks to George and headed straight to the registration point clutching that notice. Fortunately, being in the acting profession, I was used to carrying my resume with me at all times. Drawing on my years of experience navigating the industry, I smoothly secured a spot in the supporting role auditions for Misty Surface. The production team of Frosted Glass is top-notch, with the lead roles already basically cast. This recruitment is for supporting characters or extras who will appear around the leads. Once this film is completed, it will be submitted for International Film Awards, presenting a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for all participating actors. So I must seize this opportunity. During the actor auditions, assistants distributed several pages of script to each candidate, with performers randomly selected to act out scenes as required by the director. Normally, each person would receive a randomly assigned script segment, not necessarily a scene from the actual movie. But after carefully studying the released concept posters and the sets being constructed by the crew, I became certain this was the original screenplay of the film. I started to get a clearer picture in my mind. Just as the actors were rehearsing their lines, a sudden commotion erupted among the crowd. It was Maria, who strode in grandly with her entourage in tow. Why is she here? Probably came to audition for the role too. Don't tell me she's joining the open casting call with us? Tisk, are you stupid? This is obviously just a formality. Two minor actors nearby whispered to each other. I hid myself in the back of the crowd, hoping she wouldn't notice me. Then I realized I'd worried for nothing. Maria strutted past us like a proud peacock, her sky-high heels clicking in dark sunglasses, shielding her eyes as if none of us were worthy of her gaze. Yet her grand entrance barely held our attention, because soon enough, the auditions began. According to the draw, I was number 38, a mid to late position in the lineup. Not long after the first 10 went in, an unfamiliar assistant came looking for me. Dominic, Brother Jean wants to see you. For a brief moment, all eyes in the room turned toward me, but just as quickly, they averted their gazes as if it didn't matter. They must have taken me for someone with connections. But the mockery in their eyes was clear to me. They probably thought I was just another clueless fool who didn't know the market and was recklessly trying to challenge when used tough reputation. I smiled wryly and followed the assistant out of the waiting hall. The assistant must have been referring to George. Back when we were struggling in the film and television city, George took good care of us because we came from the same hometown. He probably couldn't bear seeing Maria's indirect blacklisting of me. I figured he might have some insider information to share with me. Following the assistant through countless twists and turns, I ended up in some obscure corner of the broadcasting building. He pushed open a door and said to me, "Go in and wait first. Brother Jean will come as soon as he shakes off her spies." The identity of her went without saying. Could it be that after attaching herself to director Lu Jing, her influence in the film studio had grown so vast that she could cover the sky with one hand? I thanked the assistant hesitantly and said, "It'll be my turn soon, if there's nothing too important." If Maria truly had such powerful connections, George wouldn't necessarily go against her for my sake. A strange smile appeared on the assistant's face. Just wait patiently. As soon as he finished speaking, he closed the door to the room. Time ticked by minute. I anxiously watched the hands on my watch, but there was no movement outside the door, as if this place was never meant to be visited by anyone. When I recalled the mocking and disdainful face of the assistant, I instinctively reached out and yanked the room's door. The door didn't budge. The door to this room had actually been locked from the outside. Time was slipping away rapidly. I should have been waiting in the preparation hall for my turn to appear, but someone had deliberately locked me in this unknown room. I cursed inwardly, hoping whoever did this would have a son born without an anus, while searching for an exit. The auditions for Matt were in full swing, with every actor leaving the venue displaying either joy, sorrow, or excitement on their faces. "Maria, it's done," whispered an unfamiliar assistant as she approached Maria. Maria nodded slightly and flashed a faint smile at her agent who had turned to look at her. She had spotted Dominic in the crowd the moment she entered. There was no other reason. Dominic's height and looks simply stood out too much. If she hadn't clung to Lu Jing's coattails and forcibly changed the genders of several supporting roles and scripts, the one skyrocketing to fame now would probably be him. People often said Dominic was a pearl covered in dust, destined to shine someday. So she absolutely couldn't let Dominic step onto that stage. There was no way she could allow him to expose her secrets. Next contestant, number 38. The stage manager continued calling the number, but no one responded from the waiting area outside. "Is number 38 here? Number 38. A smug expression spread across Maria's face. What's going on? How could someone miss an audition like this? Exactly. What a slap in the face to the director and producers. Does this person not want to work in this industry anymore? The actors in the waiting room began whispering again. Maria spoke triumphantly. "Why don't we just postpone it? The director and producers are quite busy, and they still need a screen for important supporting roles later." Wait, I finally made it to the waiting room, dragging my injured leg, limping pathetically. "Number 38 is here." I raised my hand and waved at Maria, whose face had turned pale. "What happened to you?" The production assistant frowned at my disheveled appearance. "I just want to organize some ideas based on my own theories. It might help with my performance later," I briefly explained. The story of Frosted Glass is set during the turbulent final years of the Republic of China era. The few pages of script in my hand were filled with dialogue amidst gunfire and explosions. My disheveled appearance made it easy for people to project themselves into the scene, perfectly highlighting the supporting characters' pitiful circumstances. Besides, I had just jumped down the building's drainpipe from that room's window. Being covered in filth was only to be expected. Stagehand, this guy's late. Maria voiced her displeasure, even trying to persuade the stagehand to skip my number entirely. Rubbing the broken skin on my palms, I spoke with difficulty. Maria, for old time's sake as hometown folks, must you be so merciless? 6. I knew exactly what she feared, so I laid all my cards on the table without hesitation. The harder she tried to distance herself, the more I insisted on our connection, preferably making sure everyone in the industry knew about our past relationship. Fellow townsfolk, even childhood sweethearts who grew up inseparable. It would be best if everyone assumed she was still tied to me. She'd better think twice before her next move, weighing the consequences of backstabbing me against the terrifying court of public opinion she'll face. Sure enough, Maria's face turned as dark as the bottom of a pot. It never crossed her mind that I'd be shameless enough to expose our relationship publicly. Since you're here before your number's called, it doesn't count as late. Come in. Just as we were locked in a stalemate, someone inside the examination room spoke. It was when you, the director of Misty Surface, and beside him sat an exquisitely beautiful woman. Both were watching me with keen interest. She looked somewhat familiar, but I didn't dare to stare. Maria didn't dare offend when you, the chief director, and quietly sat back down. You've drawn the third scene. Begin. After announcing the script lottery results, the stage manager exited the platform. I took a deep breath and instantly immersed myself in the character. Amidst the flying artillery fire, I dragged my crippled leg, limping through the devastated landscape in search of something. Suddenly, my body stiffened as if I had spotted something, freezing in place. It was a scrap of fabric, still stained with bits of flesh and blood. The next moment, my cheeks turned ice cold as I collapsed to the ground, unconscious and motionless. The lights dimmed, with no cries or shouts, only silent tears and grief-stricken collapse. I don't know how long it had been when a stagehand came up and nudged me. All right, next, number 39. I shook off the blankness in my mind and climbed up from the floor. From below the stage, a pair of slender, delicate hands reached out. You acted well. It was truly immersive. I followed the hands with my gaze and saw the woman who had just been sitting beside you. Now I recognized her. She was that awful woman who had mistaken me for a male escort that day. But Maria in the audience was still glaring at me. Thank you. I gently held her hand as I jumped down from the stage. You're hurt. Want to get it treated? The woman extended a straightforward invitation. My mind raced with conflicting thoughts before I resolutely replied. All right. Food and lust are human nature. If you can rely on your looks, so can I. Trying to crush me? Not so fast. The moment I took that risky leap from the third floor and walked into the examination hall under everyone's strange gazes in the waiting room, I'd already made up my mind. Maria could so easily sever our years-long relationship for her acting dreams, even attaching herself to director Liu, who's old enough to be her father. So why shouldn't I fight back? I'll make her regret dumping me, regret driving me to the brink. With that thought, I simply raised my head with a smile and grinned at the woman watching me tend to my wounds. The woman studied me with amusement. I was just being kind. Don't you go clinging to me now. $200. The adrenaline-fueled determination to redeem myself was instantly doused by a bucket of cold water from head to toe, bringing me back to sobering reality. I recalled our rather unpleasant previous encounters. Leaving those 200 yuan was indeed meant to return the favor for her humiliation, but it also effectively made her remember me. Kid, if you want to survive in this industry, connections alone won't cut it. The woman leaned against the backrest, her languid voice indescribably captivating. You've got talent. Don't think about taking shortcuts up the ladder. A shaky foundation brings the whole mountain down. The higher you climb, the harder you'll fall. My face burned crimson. She'd actually seen right through every single one of my thoughts. The awkward situation made me unable to lift my head until the assistant came to notify me to enter the next round of the competition. Do you know Isabella? The assistant looked gossipy yet confident. Then you're definitely getting a role, no matter how small. Shang? Don't know her. But my denial seemed completely ineffective on the assistant. She proceeded to educate me about the Shang family status in Beijing's elite circles and the main figures currently active in their business empire, including the legendary deeds of that woman. By the time I returned to the waiting hall, Maria had already left unnoticed, and that woman surnamed Shang was nowhere to be seen either. She was like a seductive spirit from the Lanrua temple, appearing and vanishing, leaving behind only the legend of me entering through the back door. 8. After several rounds of elimination, I ultimately remained in the crew, securing a supporting role as the fourth male lead with moderate screen time. The day before filming began, I received a call from an unfamiliar number. The movie hasn't even started shooting, yet you're already famous. It was that familiar lazy voice, tinged with a hint of drunkenness. but I was completely baffled and didn't understand what she was talking about. She laughed on the other end of the phone. Looks like you haven't seen the trending topics yet. My heart sank as I hurriedly opened Weibo. Hashtag Maria beautiful inside and out hashtag. Hashtag repay kindness with gratitude hashtag. Hashtag the bond of growing up together in a mountain village hashtag. Several trending topics dominated the charts consecutively. Maria landed a supporting female role in Frosted Glass. Before filming began, she strategically revealed our shared childhood in the same mountain village through several ambiguous interview pieces. She even crafted a mentor who nurtures newcomers' persona for herself, framing the role I'd earned through rigorous auditions as something she had secured for me. How clever of her, planting in the public's mind the seed that our relationship was merely that of hometown acquaintances. No matter how much evidence I presented about our past, the public would only see me as a malicious social climber, an ungrateful villain. I refuse to let my career die before it even begins. Will there be an interview segment during the opening ceremony? Judging by her relationship with Wenyu, she must at least be an investor, so I asked without hesitation. What are you planning to do? Call a spade a spade, I answered honestly. There was silence on the other end of the line, even a few suspicious snores. Suspicious. I checked the screen. The call was still connected. Hello. I took a sip of water. You really are something special. For the sake of those $200, maybe I should just hire you instead. Her slurred words clearly revealed her intention to keep me as her boy toy. Puffed. I was stunned. The mouthful of water I was drinking instantly transformed into a fountain spray. Didn't you tell me that only through real ability can one gain a foothold in this industry? Damn, I almost fell for that bastard's lies. Hey, sometimes there's nothing wrong with being a kept man, she continued shamelessly. You're insane. I hung up decisively. 9. At the opening ceremony, Maria was exquisitely dressed, subtly threatening to overshadow the female lead. At the post-event press conference, as expected, someone brought up the trending nepotism scandal that had been making waves recently. Oh, I vaguely heard people mention it, Maria said with affected coyness, covering her mouth. Dominic and I did come from the same place, but he genuinely got in through open auditions. Oh, her conspicuously evasive wording only served to confirm the rumors about me pulling strings. I took the microphone from a struggling junior reporter beside me, cleared my throat, and immediately captured everyone's attention as I began to speak. Maria must have forgotten. You've had me blocked and deleted for ages now. What helping hand could you possibly be talking about? I pulled out my phone, ready with proof, and showed her the red exclamation mark from when I'd last tried to message her. And even if we entertain the idea that director when's film could be rigged with favors, then I'd have to wonder if Maria's role was also specially arranged. After all, the second female lead's makeup and styling were more elaborate than the lead's, and script revisions flew around like confetti during filming. Maria must really be leaning against a mighty big tree. Before the official start of filming, when he was preoccupied with other matters, and Misty Surface had already been shooting for several days under the assistant director's supervision, Maria seized every opportunity to add lines and scenes for herself, even forcing the lead actress to share her makeup time, which had long caused discontent among the crew. During her first appearance on set, when you glanced at me with cool detachment, pressing her lips together without saying a word. It was strange. Given Wenyu's temperament, she should have called for a halt and launched an investigation immediately. Has he changed his ways? Maria's face turned ashen, and the crew quickly pulled the reporter away before she could say anything more. You're really something, managing to get our crew trending on the first day of shooting. Maria seized the moment during the scene change to stand right in front of me. Even infamy is fame. You should be thanking me. I didn't give her an ounce of face. Just you wait. Maria was watching us from nearby with arms crossed, not daring to make a scene. She spat out this threat before storming off. Director Wen's piercing stare made me shrink with guilt. I lowered my head and scurried away. 10. Soon enough, I discovered exactly what Maria meant by just you wait. On the last day of the first week, right after filming wrapped, the production crew informed me about tonight's cast dinner. Apart from the main actors who were all required to attend, Director Wen had specifically invited me too. Without an agent or assistant, I was driven directly to the hotel by the crew's designated driver. When I arrived, not everyone had shown up yet, the dishes hadn't been served, and there were still plenty of empty seats around the large round table. The producer will be attending tonight with the sponsors, and some heavyweight figures will also be present. The assistant sitting next to me looked very familiar. Noticing my confusion, she promptly explained, "Hello, we didn't have time to introduce ourselves last time. I'm Laura, the screenwriter." The assistant extended her hand. So the person who explained the character relationships to me last time was actually the screenwriter of Misty Surface. But I heard tonight's gathering was specially arranged as an apology session, Laura said with a look of sympathy in her eyes. An apology session? A bad premonition began to form in my mind, and my eyelids started twitching uncontrollably. When Maria appeared at the private room entrance arm in arm with Director Liu, my eyelid twitched even more violently. Seeing the smug expression on her face, radiant with triumph, my heart instantly plunged into an icy abyss. My bad intuition has never failed me. Sure enough, the moment Maria took her seat, she launched her attack. An apology party? Huh? If you sincerely and wholeheartedly apologize to me, I might forgive you. I can't take it anymore, I blurted out without thinking. My girlfriend doesn't like me chatting with every Tom, Dick, and Harry. Maria's face twisted in displeasure, but in the next instant, she was pouting pitifully while tugging at Director Lu's sleeve. See, this is how he treats me, insulting me right in front of everyone. Her shrill voice rose and fell dramatically, twisting through 8 different tones until I nearly gagged. I feel ashamed of my poor judgment in people before. Seeing us like this, there were plenty of onlookers eager to stir the pot, and soon someone chimed in, "Who's your girlfriend?" I blinked, recalling the rumors I'd heard about business circles, and without hesitation, I casually threw out a name, Isabella. The private room fell silent. After clearly hearing the name I'd spoken, everyone exchanged glances, looking as if they wanted to laugh but didn't dare. Maria sneered with sarcasm. "Say that again. Who's your girlfriend?" "Isabella. S-H-A-N-G Shang. N-I-N-Yen. Isabella." I enunciated each syllable clearly. Got it now? From the private booth within the VIP room came a woman's melodious voice. "Isabella." Shit, I'm screwed. Why didn't anyone tell me Isabella was in the private booth? 11. I turned my head stiffly, just in time to see when you sidestepping past Isabella. The corners of his mouth were practically trembling with suppressed glee. Meanwhile, Laura wore an expression of twisted excitement, her large eyes darting back and forth between me and Wenyu. Maria burst into laughter. "The lie's been exposed, hasn't it? Isabella, this person was impersonating your boyfriend and publicly insulting the cast of Misty Surface." The latter part of the sentence was directed at Isabella. For the sake of the crew's smooth filming in the future, such a person really isn't suitable to remain in the production. She once again linked arms with Director Lu, leaning against him affectionately. As they spoke, Isabella had already followed Wenyu to take their seats at the head of the table, where an empty chair remained beside them. She didn't acknowledge Maria, instead turning her gaze to me. "Well, do I need to personally invite you?" Maria's previously delighted expression instantly drained of color, leaving her pretty face deathly pale. Director Lu, sensing the situation turning sour, quickly pried Maria's hand away. "Is she helping me?" My body moved faster than my brain could process. Before my brain could process it, I'd already obediently taken a seat beside Isabella. Everyone present was shrewd. Seeing Isabella tacitly acknowledge our relationship, they all raised their glasses to apologize to me. "So you're Isabella's boyfriend. Would you look at that? We nearly offended one of our own." Exactly. We deserve to be penalized for this." Director Lu stood up with an apologetic smile and nudged Maria, signaling her to apologize. "You Ling failed to recognize Mount Tai and offended Isabella's boyfriend. I'll have her apologize to you." Maria reluctantly mumbled something and raised her glass to toast me. "What did you say? I can't hear you." My eyes rolled so hard they nearly disappeared into my skull. "It's an apology session. If you sincerely apologize to me, I'll forgive you." I threw Maria's exact words right back at her. "Don't push your luck." Maria's eyes turned red with anger. With a loud bang, she slammed her glass on the table and pointed at my nose, ready to unleash her fury. "Look at her, sis." I mimicked her tone, shaking Isabella's arm beside me before leaning in closer. "She's always bullying me like this." My voice was full of melodramatic twists. This time, I didn't feel like vomiting. I wanted to laugh. Watching Maria's frustrated expression, I just wanted to burst into laughter. 12. Maria was dumbfounded. Not only her, everyone present was dumbfounded. When you burst into laughter, breaking the awkward silence. "As you said, he's truly fascinating." I was so immersed in my performance that I nearly forgot to observe Isabella's expression beside me. Fortunately, her face showed no signs of displeasure. "Organizing this gathering wasn't meant for you to come and laugh at others," Isabella said coolly, casting a glance at Wenyu. Wenyu cleared his throat lightly. "Director Lu, about that person, I agreed to let you bring her into the crew, but well, she only has herself to blame for not measuring up. As you've seen, for the sake of stable filming going forward, such people really aren't suited to remain in the crew." Under the combined pressure from Wenyu and Isabella, Director Lu was breaking out in a cold sweat. Though Director Lu had gained some reputation in the industry, he was still no match for someone like Wenyu, a powerhouse director with Beijing connections, or Isabella, the business prodigy. Maria's face had gone beyond pale. It was now completely bloodless. Being personally dismissed from the production by Wenyu meant one thing. Her acting career was effectively over. After all, who would dare to hire an actor carrying an unknown bomb? She was half dragged out of the private room by Director Lu. With the annoying Maria gone, the atmosphere at the crew banquet became harmonious. Amidst the clinking of glasses, I stole several glances at Isabella and noticed she maintained a faint smile at the corners of her lips. After the banquet ended, I tactfully followed Isabella into her car. She seemed quite drunk and looked exhausted, resting her head in her hands and falling asleep as soon as she got in the car. The driver didn't ask any questions and drove straight back to her residential complex. Not daring to disturb her, I signaled the driver to turn up the heat and sat in the car, waiting for her to wake up. Until her phone was nearly out of battery, Isabella finally woke up with a frown. "You didn't leave?" She seemed surprised that I was still here. Jet lag got to me. I was a little tired. This was probably her way of explaining why she had fallen asleep. "What time is it?" She stretched her arm and glanced at her watch. "You helped me today, and I want to repay you." The internal struggle was over. I let her decide whether I stayed or left. She paused, understanding the implication of my words, and looked at me with astonishment. "Are you sick, or am I?" She seemed genuinely angry. She flung the door open and kicked me out. "Get out of my sight. You're disgusting. I must have been out of my mind to fly back here for this." Fine, I get it. That day when she had the audacity to say she wanted to keep me as her sugar baby, she must have been drunk again. 13. The news about the female lead replacement in Matt Mist trended on social media the very next day. However, the replacement actress arrived with such speed that I couldn't help suspecting when you had prepared her long in advance. When you actually had some real talent as a director. As a mere fourth male lead, I learned a great deal working under him. He showed me an indescribable amount of special care, which manifested in ways including, but not limited to, frequently calling cut and forbidding the use of stunt doubles, making me perform all the high-difficulty scenes personally. Even the extras and the crew felt sorry for me. See, even if you get into director, wins production through connections, it doesn't mean smooth sailing. But he never complains, no matter how tough it gets. Maybe he does have some real talent after all. Since Maria got fired, there's no reason to keep the people she brought in. Could it be fake? Not sure, let's wait and see. Behind my silent dedication and hard work on stage, the extras and paparazzi in the crew helped clear my name of the backdoor connections rumor. Seeing the trending topic on Weibo, I finally understood when used well-intentioned efforts. Taking advantage of a quiet moment after finishing the night shoot when no one was around, I expressed my gratitude to him. "Hey, Isabella's judgment is never wrong. I believed in you, and it was worth setting up that whole scheme with her to teach that woman a lesson." A scheme? I was stunned. You don't actually think what happened at the banquet was a coincidence, do you? Now it was when you's turn to be surprised. Though you should have heard the truth about your situation from Isabella herself. As her friend, I still need to speak up for her. When you patted my shoulder with grave sincerity. Isabella's searched for you for ages, went through great pains for you, even flew back from abroad despite her busy schedule, just to stand up for you. Young man, you'd better cherish her properly. Looking for me? I caught the key phrase, but grew even more confused. Have we met before? When you gave me a look of defeat. 10 years ago, by the river. Did you fish out a little girl who was about to jump in? Oh yeah, I was startled. That chubby kid was her. Could this be a love at first sight, pledge my life to you kind of scenario? That's not the case. When you wave her hand. I knew it. It didn't seem like you at all. I breathed a sigh of relief. After dragging her ashore, you rushed home to catch loaches and handed the chubby girl over to a passerby. When you patiently explained, you ran off after saving her, but the little chubby girl wouldn't let it go. She made a huge scene with that passerby and ended up throwing her competition sketchbook into the water. A hiss escaped me as that ominous premonition rose in my chest once more. That person was hopping mad, swearing to find you and make you take responsibility. Wenyu's face carried an inscrutable smile. So, a chill ran down my spine. So now I have. Isabella's icy voice sounded behind me. Holy shit, after wrapping up the shoot for Matt, Isabella pinned me down in her place, forcing me to piece together that water-damaged art book page by page. She really holds a grudge. That decade-old ruined art book was meticulously preserved, just so she could one day make me restore it myself, exacting revenge for her missed grand prize. When did you recognize me? I asked curiously. $200, she replied tersely, not even looking up from the contract she was reviewing. Did you write my name on those $200? I was stunned. She lifted her head from the files to glance at me, but I'm certain it was a massive eye roll. The next day, I checked the hotel records and surveillance footage. Her tone was sharp. Oh, I thought she had some supernatural ability to recognize people by their money. But she paused and looked up at me again. Why did you take me away from the bar that night? Did you think I was picking up drunk girls? I said irritably. There were several big eyes staring at you that night. I thought a drunk woman like you was in danger, so I took you away from there. In danger? She seemed both amused and annoyed. You really haven't changed. Always playing the hero. I lifted my chin proudly. Damn right. She slapped the folder onto the desk. Here's a thought. She paused deliberately. What if those big guys were actually my bodyguards? Holy shit. After the editing of Misty was completed, Isabella and I were invited as the first screening audience members. During the movie, Isabella clutched my sleeve and cried her heart out. It was the first time I'd ever seen the tough-as-nails Isabella show such sentimentality and tenderness, though she never admitted. When you submitted the film to an international festival where it won a major award, even a supporting actor like me got swept up in the success, with acting offers pouring in and my schedule becoming nonstop. When you signed me to his and Isabella's entertainment company, assigning me a manager, assistant, and driver while establishing a studio for me. However, both he and Isabella believed that in the dazzling world of showbiz, steady progress with solid footing was the only reliable path forward. So under Isabella's guidance, I started with supporting roles, constantly challenging myself with new types of characters, never staying within my comfort zone. Isabella said that one must constantly push their limits to broaden their acting range, and that there's really no difference between acting and doing business. When I said this, I was already with her, a serious boyfriend with marriage in mind. There have been rumors circulating about us, both inside and outside the industry. Especially after Maria faded from the scene, the legendary dinner table incident was brought up time and again. But I didn't have the tainted reputation of being a backdoor operator or privileged with connections. The reason is simple. I have the talent to earn every role I get. I have the talent myself, capable of perfectly portraying any role I'm given. I'm no longer just a supporting actor tagging along with award-winning productions, but a talented male actor who earns his place through his work, capable of being nominated for and even winning awards. The year I won Best Actor, I proposed to Isabella. On the wedding day, she invited that chubby little girl from years ago to serve as their witness. She said, "What you owe me will take a lifetime to repay." I said, "What I owe you will take a lifetime to repay." Side story. Isabella's perspective waking up with a hangover. I was furious to find $200 on a nightstand. The bodyguards knew I was staying in my own hotel, so they didn't follow me. I grabbed the hotel manager and personally checked the records and surveillance footage. "Dominic, it's him again. That heroic lifesaver. The one who ruined my painstakingly collected countryside sketches for the competition. He's been struggling in the Beijing film and television circle, but I heard he's been severely suppressed by his ex-girlfriend recently, which piqued my interest. My childhood friend, Wen Yu's crew happened to be holding open auditions for actors, and he was coincidentally on the audition list. So I followed Wen Yu to the audition site. True to form, he didn't disappoint me. He made a pitiful and wretched entrance, but his performance was actually quite good. At least Wen Yu said it was passable, barely usable. His ex-girlfriend was a troublemaker, colluding with director Liu, trying to keep Dominic down for good. Only I can touch what's mine. Wen Yu had long been annoyed by director Liu, trying to force his own people on him just because of seniority. We hit it off immediately and set up this gathering, aiming to kill 3 birds with 1 stone. Unfortunately, I got held up by a dragging meeting that delayed my schedule. Rushing back with jet lag, still unadjusted, I first took a quick nap in the inner room of the private booth. This nap proved fruitful as I happened to overhear Dominic's earth-shattering remarks. Wen Yu nearly laughed herself silly, while I remained relatively calm, except for my heart pounding like a war drum. When Dominic coquettishly leaned in, clinging to my arm and swaying it back and forth, my heart skipped a beat. But before I could drink to my heart's content, I spotted a stunning yet aloof drunk woman being targeted. Damn, but Wen Yu's little screenwriter mistook him for someone Wen Yu fancied, shipping their explosive CP with fervent delight. Under Wen Yu's rigorous training, his acting skills steadily improved. He learned about his connection with me through Wen Yu's words, and I didn't hide anything either. After he wrapped up filming, I dragged him off to help me restore and paste the art book back together. Later on, I assembled a studio team for him, officially launching his career in the entertainment industry. I never dared to reveal my feelings, but somehow we naturally ended up together, as if it was meant to be. I never asked him when he first fell for me. Until the wedding day ended, he asked me, "Why didn't you offer to keep me as your sugar baby later? Are you crazy or am I?" I replied with utter disdain. "But you clearly called me one day, suggesting I could live off you. How could you make such an offer and then just walk away from it?" He looked aggrieved, lowering his head slightly. "I've been waiting for you for so long." He was getting all pouty again. Which day?" I gasped, pushing him away. He braced his arms above me, beads of sweat from his hair dripping onto my cheeks. "You drank the day before the opening ceremony." He thrust in deeply. I drank. When I drink, I start talking nonsense. Alcohol makes you bolder." I pleaded hoarsely. Don't. But I'll take it seriously. Then you can be bold tonight." He touched my cheek. "You've been drinking." The end.